Okay, so you may be wondering, what is this guy gonna complain about today? Or you read the title. Either way, I was just watching a video from SomeOrdinaryGamers channel a few hours ago before I started writing today's script, and the man mentioned something he talks about fairly regularly. And I had personally noticed a few weeks, or not weeks, but a few years ago. So hopefully I can focus on making a regular video today, now that things have hopefully settled down since yesterday's post. Not really sure about all that still, but I think we're good, at least for now. So Mudahar had just mentioned a point I have to agree with about 9.5 minutes into his video. I believe it was called I Found the Indian Tech God or something like that. He was making a point that deep web red rooms are pretty much a joke that don't really exist 99 out of 100 times, and that surface web, especially social media like Facebook, specifically Facebook, has more easily accessible and hidden illegal content on it than any website on the deep web. And I have to agree with them 100% based on my own experience. I actually stopped going on Facebook for years because the last two accounts I had before this year, 2020, kept getting invites from what I thought at first were just regular local groups. I was at this phase in life a couple of years ago, like 3 years ago, where I was using a bunch of apps and social media groups like Meetup and Hangouts to find nerdy local events to go to in order to possibly meet new people or maybe even a nice woman with some common interest, a lady friend. Since I'm pretty much a friendless incel who's been single since, well, 8 years ago now. So, I don't know. I finally just got around to making another page to promote my YouTube channel and book series I've started, but that rabbit trail aside, in the years between 2016 and 2018, I had at least 2 surface web regular Facebook accounts that had the same problem come up on both pages. To the point where I just stopped going on Facebook altogether. Until recently for my business-related reasons. Because, like I said, I kept getting invites from these local private groups that would post snuff constantly on their feed, and it kept popping up in mine after I made the mistake of accepting the first invite that I did. There were like 2 prominent groups at any given time that I'm pretty sure were ran by mostly the same people. One for what seemed to be a lighter cover-up version of the other page, I guess. First one being based on just gory but fictional movies and memes, and then there was the actual snuff page that would just reform with a slightly different name and send out invites to all their previous members and the people close to those members that weren't actually in the group, I guess. At least that's what it seemed like to me. That's, I think, how I got my invite. A few of my older extended family members that I've only met a few times, I guess apparently had noticed that my interests had included horror movies and stuff on my Facebook page, if I remember the first invite message I ever received correctly. So I thought it was just a couple local horror movie appreciation groups at first, since that's how they presented themselves, and that was one of the most naive presumptions I've ever made. I still have flashbacks on a regular basis when snuff is brought up because of the first video I ever saw from the second group. It's what inspired this video today. So I've never really shared this with anybody except my psychiatrists and other doctors. Um, but I was under the assumption at first glance that the video I was watching this certain day, the first clip I had ever gotten in my feed from these groups, that was from the second page. Well, at first I thought it was going to be a clip from a horror movie, you know. But as it started up, I saw how low quality the video was. Like, it was 360p or maybe a really grainy 480p video. And from the way it was recorded, it was obviously made on a cell phone. I don't mean a nice cell phone, like, made, one made for recording or something, that just had, been edited in After Effects or something to make the clip look worse, just for editing purposes or whatever. I just mean it was a crappy video shot on a worse phone than the one I'm currently having to use for this video right now. So, at first I thought, okay, this just might still be somebody filming a clip of a movie in a theater, or from their TV or computer monitor maybe, and that's why it was so low quality. I quickly realized I was wrong and started getting confused because I was wondering by now if I was watching a skit or some art house film clip for an indie film, because the cameraman was walking around two people in the clip. And that, obviously shows they weren't filming a movie, they were actually there. But what was going on was just so outlandish that my brain refused to believe it at first. So there was a black guy in the video with a shovel, standing in a hole about 3 foot deep by 6 or 7 foot in length, somewhere in what looked like a patch of orangish clay dirt out in a field or something. And he was digging and sobbing, like tears and snot just visibly running down his face, begging over and over with the other guy in the video, like, just, please don't do this, man. I'll do anything, I swear, just don't hurt me. Well, the other guy, whose face I either don't remember, or I think just, like, never actually ended up being in the clip, the way the guy shot it, and I think it, like, usually cut off at his neck or right before it went past, like, his shoulder, just showing his arms and his body. Like, you'll get it here. The dude's begging, and this other guy whose face I couldn't see was pointing a shotgun at the dude the entire time. And every time the guy would ask him to stop all of this, he would shout something like, "Shut up and keep digging," in a thick Spanish accent, and then would follow up with stuff in Spanish, either extremely aggressively to the guy in the hole, or sometimes to the cameraman. After just like 1 or 2 minutes of this, the Spanish guy says something along the lines of, "Alright, that's enough. Put the shovel over there and get back in the hole." So the black guy did this, and when he got back in the hole, he started begging louder than before. The guy yelled at him to shut the fuck up and turn around in the hole, and to get on his knees. So, like, again, all this is happening in under 3 or 4 minutes, so I'm just in total shock trying to figure out if it's real or not, and immediately when the guy kneels down, he starts playing again, talking about his family and stuff, and before he even finishes his whole first sentence, the Spanish guy lifts a shotgun to the back of his head, point blank, and fires, with the dude's face and the inside of his head just literally being blown away in chunks. Like all over the hole and around the sides of it and stuff, and the dude just falls what would have been face first into the grave if the majority of his face and the back of his head hadn't been completely splattered all over the place and just goddamn missing. So to wrap it up, after constantly going through a cycle of reporting these disgusting videos that kept popping up in my feed, and then ironically being invited to the next group they would set up every time one would be taken down, because I obviously wasn't going to tell a group of fucking snuff addicts that I had been reporting their videos to Facebook administration and the proper authorities. And I got tired of feeling obligated to do all that, and just being mentally scarred, while at the same time being afraid in the back of my mind that if I suddenly left their private group or denied one of their invites and just stopped being a part of them, they noticed the reports stop happening, like at the same time, just immediately. Well, I'm sure you can put two and two together with that information, and if you can, somebody in the group could do the same. So eventually I just slowly started logging into Facebook less and less. It just kind of faded away and stopped logging in completely for a couple years instead of just, dropping off immediately, like I was saying. So my new business blog page doesn't include my local information or anything like that, so my location info, I guess. And so far I haven't received any recommendations from any of those types of group or any of the people in them, even the ones I was related to by name alone to begin with. So all that to say, mood is right. There's a whole network of private, unlisted Facebook groups with innocuous page names innocuous sounding names that usually end up actually being a creative double entendre with a more sinister second meaning that still untouched by any Facebook administration, since invited members don't usually report their own groups, and they have, at first glance, innocent enough sounding names not to raise any red flags, or sometimes they've just straight up had names that are like fan group, horror movie fan club, not even a double entendre type thing. So I don't know how many members of these clubs were legit, how many might have been government employees, whether each one was a honeypot or legit, or most likely a mix of the two, probably being monitored through some large sting operation to catch especially nasty people, or not, but therein lies the danger. The dark web probably has way less illegal videos hidden in certain places versus the surface web, despite 90% of the internet actually being outside of the surface web. But, if you disagree, let me know. Comment down below. Suggestions, ideas, fears, experiences, anything. Like, share, subscribe if you want to keep up with any of this, or just my random posts about what I'm thinking about from day to day. And I'll see you next time, hopefully. Thanks. Bye.